Good evening everyone and welcome to the first round of the Formula 1 2018 season. It's going to be a cracker this year. We've got driver transfers up and down the grid and the potential of 3 World Championship teams. Not only do we have the fight for 5 between Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, we've also got the battle of the Finns, but it looks like this year Ferrari and Mercedes are the team to beat. We've also got rookies, and here's Dan Wood in first practice, big slide, just managed to save his McLaren. He's going into his first ever weekend in Formula 1, as is Charles Leclerc, poised for a move to Ferrari come the end of the season, with this man Kimi Raikkonen likely to be in his final ever year of the sport. But with battles set up and down the grid, this could be one of Formula 1's greatest ever seasons. So I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Let's move on to the story of qualifying. Qualifying for the Formula 1 2018 Australian Grand Prix was our first real chance to compare the competitive nature of all 10 teams on the grid. It was a difficult start for backmarkers Sauber and Williams, as well as the Toro Rosso team, but in Q1 the big story was Sergio Perez, the Mexican, out in the first round of qualifying. The midfield was an extremely tight affair, with McLaren, Renault and Haas all looking to be at the front of that group. As expected, Ferrari, Red Bull and Mercedes got both drivers through to the final round of qualifying, along with the 2 Haas cars, the Renault of Carlos Sainz and rookie for McLaren, Dan Wood. All 4 of those drivers were at the back of the top 10, and it was down to Ferrari and Mercedes to battle it out for pole position, with Lewis Hamilton claiming his first of the season. So as we head down to the grid, this race looks completely wide open. Will Lewis Hamilton run away with it from the front? Will the Ferraris pressure him into turn 1? A lot of question marks going into this race. No chance of rain whatsoever, so that will not be a factor. Today will be complete hard racing from lap 1 to lap 29. Here's your layout of the Melbourne City Circuit. 3.295 kilometers, 16 turns, 3 DRS sections. This race isn't notorious for overtaking, but with these new regulation of cars for this season, we should hopefully be in for an absolute thriller. Predictions for today: I think Ferrari could take the fight to Mercedes, but like I mentioned, it's going to be completely wide open. Will those Red Bulls be able to challenge the 2 top teams? That is another big question mark. There is Sebastian Vettel down in 5th place for today's race, beaten by one of those Red Bulls, and there is your pole man Lewis Hamilton, talking to into the barrier actually, and his team boss Toto Wolff. The home hero Daniel Ricciardo, he'll be wanting to put an impact on the whole entire field, get his first win of the year, his first win in front of his home crowd. But let's take it over now to Crofty, who's going to go through the entire race order and qualifying result.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Sainz, Grosjean, Magnussen, Wood and Stoffel van Dorn, Ocon, Hartley, Nico Hülkenberg and Leclerc, Perez, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly and Sergei Sorokin. Stroll and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So we are now moments away from the first race of the Formula 1 2018 season. Lewis Hamilton leads Raikkonen for the formation lap. I couldn't predict this one whatsoever. We are down in P9 after Daniel Ricciardo's 10th place grid penalty. Not too sure what that's for. I imagine it was for some altercation during qualifying or practice. Sergio Perez down in P16 after that very, very difficult qualifying session for the Force Indias. Here's the remainder of the top 10. The Haas cars running particularly well, but Sebastian Vettel down in 5th place. He'll be disappointed with that, and he'll want to make up positions on the first lap. So then, getting into our final grid positions, the new halo is in effect. The first ever race with the halo as we gear up towards 5 lights. And we're underway. The 2018 season is a go, and Raikkonen and Vettel have had fantastic starts up at the front. We're a bit sluggish. We're going to pass Magnussen by around the outside, and Raikkonen is up the inside of Lewis Hamilton. They're side by side going through the first and second corner. They're still side by side, nothing between those two cars as we head down towards turn 3. Raikkonen's on the inside, and we're going to go around the outside of both Haas cars. Raikkonen is still alongside Hamilton at the front by the look of it. We've got Magnussen and Grosjean and slip behind Sainz, but Hamilton looks like he's finally taken the lead of the Grand Prix. He's finally got an edge over Kimi Raikkonen. An explosive start to the first race of the season. That was a pretty dramatic battle. Oh, as Max Verstappen now is having a little look at Valtteri Bottas. Can't quite get the move done, but as we head towards the end of Sector 2, the running order is Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen, Valtteri Bottas holding in P3, Max Verstappen still holds P4, Sebastian Vettel P5, Carlos Sainz P6. We are currently holding in P7, but here comes Romain Grosjean charging up the inside like an absolute bullet that Haas car is with the Ferrari engine. We're going to try and stick it around the outside if at all possible, but Grosjean's still going to be there on the inside. He has a little look around now the outside of the final corner, but can't quite get it done. So as we head through onto lap 2, it is Hamilton who leads away from pole position and currently has a slight gap over Kimi Raikkonen. Lap 2, and the battle for 4th is on. Sebastian Vettel hunting down Max Verstappen. Can he get a move on the Flying Dutchman going in to the end of the second DRS section? He's trying to go around the outside of Max Verstappen. An absolutely audacious move. Can he now stick it around the outside of the next turn? It looks like he has. Verstappen's contact between the two of them. Vettel now has the inside of the penultimate corner and finally gets the move done. And here is the brand new shot of the new halo. Very controversial device, but heading down towards turn 1, Verstappen's got a fantastic run on Sebastian Vettel. Can he get the move done? He's locked up, the German's locked up, he's run wide. Sainz makes contact with Vettel. We're going to try and stick it around the outside. Contact with Sainz with 3 wide going down towards turn 3. Who's going to get into the lead by the time we get there? It looks like it's Vettel. We finally got a move on Sainz. The two Haas cars are now battling. I think Magnussen's just been able to pick Romain Grosjean, but that was explosive out of nowhere. And now Carlos Sainz appears he has a bit more damage than what first looked, as he's causing an absolute train behind us, and you can see the gap already is absolutely ginormous between us and Sainz. And this isn't a different lap, this is the exact same lap, and we are pulling away from Sainz at a rate of knots. And it looks like Kevin Magnussen is this now, or Romain Grosjean in fact, is going around the outside of Sainz and's got the move done before he even gets through the corner. Now Magnussen's going to have a look, and Sainz is wide, Sainz is off, Sainz is in the gravel, and that does not look good for the Spaniard in his first race for the Renault team. Let's go on board with Carlos Sainz here then. What seems to go wrong? Does he just run wide? Yes, he does. He runs completely wide and off the circuit. We now are going to run on board with Kevin Magnussen. There's contact with Magnussen. Maybe he had a puncture. Maybe that's why he just drifts off to the side of the circuit. And that is not how Kevin Magnussen envisioned the start of his 2018 season. Lap 4, and race leader Lewis Hamilton is in. This is a very early stop from the Mercedes boys. A very interesting strategy call, considering they were leading the race, but nevertheless Lewis Hamilton is on his way. Mercedes must have spotted a gap down the lower end to get Hamilton back out. Also, Kevin Magnussen is in the pits and now back on board with Vettel. He looks like he's finally got a move on Max Verstappen around the outside. Locks up again. Can Verstappen get back at him? Doesn't quite look like it. Looks like the Ferrari has a bit too much speed. There's Hamilton coming out, behind Lance Stroll. Stroll locks up. It's going to be a bit of a feisty scrap between Hamilton and Stroll. Hamilton just is able to get the better of the Canadian, as now Sorokin is going to try and go around the outside of Lance Stroll. We've joined this battle at the lower end of the field. Stroll looks like he's going to try and hold on, and is just able to do so. Now lap 5, Kimi Raikkonen comes into the pit. He was in the lead, so it's now going to be Valtteri Bottas who leads this race, who has not come in yet. He has not stopped, but the two race leaders, if you will, Raikkonen and Hamilton, have now stopped. Raikkonen's going to be behind me and these two as well. Van Dorn and Hulkenberg fighting into turn 1. Hulkenberg trying to go around the outside of our teammate. A bit of contact. Hulkenberg looks like he's got the move done, and Raikkonen's just out in front of Lewis Hamilton. He's just been able to pip the race leader. Hamilton might be able to come back at him, but it doesn't quite look like it, as we now go back on board with Van Dorn and Hulkenberg, and it looks like Hulkenberg's got that move stuck now. Hamilton is working his way through the field very, very nicely indeed. Also Kimi Raikkonen, both of them chopping their way through the lower ends of the top 10. Perez there having a very, very difficult weekend, as now Hamilton dives up the inside of Perez. Once again, still trying to hang in there is the Force India, but can't quite manage it. We now move later on in the lap, and Raikkonen is now teeing a move on Pierre Gasly, his first ever Australian Grand Prix. Raikkonen though in the superior car, superior engine over that Honda engine. Toro Rosso running Honda engines for the first time this weekend. Raikkonen's going to make it look easy around the outside of Gasly, but now we've got yellow flags just behind this fight, and it looks like Gasly's teammate Brendan Hartley is pulling off to the side, and in his Benefacto home Grand Prix is going to end in turmoil. A DNF for Hartley only on lap 7. Not the best start for that partnership with Honda engines, but as we end lap 7 and go on to lap 8, this is your race order. Bottas leads from Vettel. Max Verstappen is still holding on to that P3. Dan Wood is in P4, Hulkenberg P5, Grosjean 6th, Ocon 7th, Van Dorn 8th, and Raikkonen and Hamilton working their way through the grid are finally in the top 10 in 9th and 10th. But those two are the front runners and the only runners to have stopped so far. We now go back to us, our POV. We're currently in a bit of a no man's land, really hunting down Max Verstappen, but lap 10, Sebastian Vettel decides to come in, which means Bottas is still completely out by himself. He is still leading by a country mile and doesn't appear to be coming in anytime soon. Vettel goes onto the soft tyres, but where is he going to emerge in the top 10? If he's going to emerge in the top 10 at all, he's going to be trying to aim around Hamilton, around Kimi Raikkonen. Out of the pit comes Sebastian Vettel, and he's going to be behind both Raikkonen and Hamilton by quite a fair margin, and he's going to slip in between Gasly and Perez. Race leader Valtteri Bottas has not stopped yet, and there you can see the margin he is leading by. Van Dorn now fight for 8th place. Raikkonen's going to surge around the outside, a bit of contact between the two of them. Van Dorn still holding in there, trying to battle his way against a Ferrari, but can't quite do it. Van Dorn loses 8th place, and Raikkonen and Hamilton continue their charge through the top 10. Meanwhile, Nico Hulkenberg has been putting in some very competitive laps and has been able to catch up with us. He's doing some impressive things, and he's going to try into turn 1 and take 4th place away from us in our first ever Grand Prix. We run wide onto the grass a little bit, trying to give Hulkenberg a bit of space, but we've had much better traction on the edge of the corner, and heading down towards turn 3, we dummy Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg completely locks up. We run wide as well, but we've managed to just pip Hulkenberg and take back 4th place. But Nico Hulkenberg in that Renault looks very, very racy indeed. I don't really know where this sudden turn of pace from Hulkenberg has come from. In the past few laps, he's been charging down and catching up on us. Max Verstappen seems to have made a bit of a gap in front, but Hulkenberg looks like a real challenger for 4th place in this race. But it looks like myself, Hulkenberg, Verstappen, Bottas, we're all trying for one-stops. And these guys behind, Raikkonen and Hamilton, who have both got past off of Van Dorn now, those two look like they're two-stopping. So technically, this is for position with these guys behind. Bottas is in. Race leader Valtteri Bottas is in from the lead. He's most likely going to go onto a set of soft tyres and run straight to the end of this race. Super softs on, off I should say, and softs on. Where is he going to emerge? That's the big question now. Will he re-emerge in the lead? Verstappen's also come in on this lap as well. So it's now, this is going to be the fight for the lead. Bottas is currently leading. Where is he coming out as Hulkenberg tries to pass us into turn 1? And there is Bottas leaving the pit. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. We wrestle through and take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix, but it's not over yet. Bottas and Hulkenberg are fighting behind, and Raikkonen's going to try and edge his nose in, as well as Raikkonen up the inside of Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg's going to try and stick in there, but again, Raikkonen looking very, very racy today indeed. Gets what is now 3rd place in the race, as Bottas is now looking to pass us. It's going to be a very easy move for Valtteri Bottas. We are on very, very worn soft tyres, and in the end we make it very easy for him and just let him through. We're going to do the same with Kimi Raikkonen as well. There's no point really fighting these guys. They're complete different class today. You've seen them chopping and changing their way through the field, and there's no real point. But at the end of this lap, I think it's time we come in for our first and only planned stop for this race. We've gone much deeper into the race than expected. Lap 13 of 29, so almost at that halfway point. We've made those super softs last a long time. In comes Hulkenberg as well, and our teammate Stoffel Vandoorne, the team have opted to double stack us, as that's obviously what they felt was the best strategy decision. Vandoorne doesn't have to wait too long. Pretty seamless stop there from the McLaren boys, doing a great job in the pits. No issues for either driver, but Wood now is going to come out in P12 behind Max Verstappen and Kevin Magnussen, but he's got Ricciardo right behind us. He's Ricciardo. As soon as we get out of the pit, he's going to try and pass us. Daniel Ricciardo, who started down in P17, tries to go at the inside down at turn 3, and I think he's got the move done. We run wide, get on the grass a little bit, and Ricciardo has claimed P11, but at the halfway stage, this is your race order at the bottom of the screen. Bottas leads from Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel's worked his way into P4. Ocon P5, Gasly P6. Those two have not stopped yet. Vettel is currently leading those two. Max Verstappen in P7 doing a solid job, and Charles Leclerc in 9th on his race debut. A very impressive job as well. The only man who is currently out of the race completely is Brendan Hartley in P20. On your screens now we can see a fantastic little dice between Sorokin, Grosjean and Marcus Ericsson. That's a very interesting one to keep an eye on. But as we head on to lap 15, Daniel Ricciardo versus ourselves. Who is going to claim this 11th place? It looks very difficult, as Raikkonen is now coming in for his 2nd stop. This is very interesting strategy being employed by Ferrari. Hamilton as well in the background. Hamilton is in as well. Both of them coming in for their 2nd stop. They're strapping both a set of soft tyres. This is going to be very interesting indeed. Where they're going to come out. Verstappen's gone through. Grosjean's gone through. Magnussen now comes in. Ricciardo has come in as well. So a lot of drivers are coming in for their 2nd stop. Verstappen goes through. He's passed Kimi Raikkonen, and now Grosjean is past Lewis Hamilton. So that was very interesting indeed. But now a couple of laps later, lap 17, the battle for 5th. Grosjean versus Lewis Hamilton, and you think with the fresh tyres, Hamilton around the outside of Romain Grosjean, and it's going to be a very easy move in the end by Lewis Hamilton. That superior power that we've said all day long. It really looks like Ferrari and Mercedes are the teams to beat, as Grosjean with his Ferrari engine has a look around the outside, a bit of contact between the two of them, but Hamilton's able to just about hold on for now. You now come back on board with ourselves, and that contact with Hamilton seems to have really hurt Romain Grosjean, as throughout the lap we've been gaining on him tremendously, as we now go around the outside of Grosjean, very similarly to what we did on lap 1. The only difference was that we were defending Grosjean. We managed to chop and change around the outside, and he's really struggling now with that damage. Lap 20, Grosjean is now fighting for 8th place against Ocon and Vandoorne. Can he hold on? This damage is really hurting him as they go through the almost centre S sort of section, and Grosjean is wide. Grosjean's on the grass and he's off. Grosjean is in the gravel like Sainz was on lap 1. Virtual safety car is out. Grosjean seems to be beached in the gravel trap. This is now left a complete wide door for strategy. We're going to come in for an unscheduled stop. Can the McLaren boys get out in time? But we come in on lap 20, 9 laps to go, jeopardising what was a fantastic 5th position we were currently in. Now we've thrown it all away, arguably. Can we hold on? Can we fight our way back through the field But where are we going to come out? There's confirmation, virtual safety car. Grosjean beached in the gravel. This is going to be a very, very interesting end to the race. We're going to emerge, looks like that is behind Daniel Ricciardo in P11, so currently out of the point. So it's going to be a very interesting final 9 laps to this race. We now go on board on Romain Grosjean, and there's a contact with Ocon. Grosjean doesn't seem to help himself and seems to drift into the gravel. And as we head onto lap 21, we now have confirmation that cars number 7, 44, 3 and 33 have drive-through penalties for speeding under the virtual safety car. That's Kimi Raikkonen, Lewis Hamilton and both Red Bull cars. And here is Raikkonen serving his penalty. And although for these guys that's completely screwed up their races, and that's such a rookie error for the 3 big teams, this is going to help us out tremendously. As you can just see over the fence there, we're charging past half of these drivers, and we now find ourselves up in P10 in front of Daniel Ricciardo, but still behind Max Verstappen. And as we head towards these guys, the battle for 5th place is well and truly on. Hulkenberg, Ocon, Van Dorn, Verstappen, Gasly's in the mix as well. There's contact. Ocon and Van Dorn make contact. Ocon is missing half of his front wing, well, an end plate of his front wing. Don't want to exaggerate too much, but this has now allowed us to get right behind the guys. We could dive up the inside of Verstappen. Also Gasly as well, catch him unaware. Was a bit of a dirty dive bomb, but on these fresh tyres, these guys are on tyres that are 20 laps old, and it's going to look like absolute child's play as we now head up the inside of Esteban Ocon as well. But Ocon defends well and manages to hold his position, but it's going to be a futile defence from Esteban Ocon. These tyres are far, far superior, and it's going to be an easy move up the inside of turn 3, and we are now behind our teammate Stoffel Van Dorn. And our charge through the field and our decision to go for another stop, to go onto the 2 stop, looks like the best decision we could have made, as we now get a fantastic run on our teammate Stoffel Van Dorn. The sweeping camera does this move absolute justice as we now finally get past Van Dorn, and that's a P6 in our first race, starting P9 on the grid, qualifying P10. This is a fantastic job we are currently doing in our first ever race in Formula 1, and now we're hunting down the man we had a battle with about halfway through the race. He made it look difficult for us halfway through. Nico Hulkenberg, the battle for 5th is on. Can we pass him before the end of the lap? We don't want to do anything too stupid. In front, I believe it's still Valtteri Bottas who leads this race. That 1 stop for him has been absolutely crucial. We're looking at any sort of move to pass Nico Hulkenberg here at this point, but it's going to be a very easy move at the end of the straight, I imagine. But we get all out of sorts straight away. But Hulkenberg, we've got much better run on him, as the halo shots looks fantastic as we go around the outside, which will be the inside of the first corner. And as we head towards the end of this race, lap 23, we pass Hulkenberg, and behind, Gasly has now made a move on Stoffel Van Dorn. And Verstappen may look for a move as well. Heading down towards turn 3, they're 3 wide. Another fantastic fight between Van Dorn and other drivers. Manages to hold on to it this time though, which is quite impressive from Stoffel. Race leader, lap 26, 3 laps to go, Valtteri Bottas. He's been in a world of his own in this race. Van Dorn again now. The battle for the final point with Romain Grosjean is well and truly underway. Van Dorn has had a very, very interesting day fighting and defending for the majority of it. Grosjean goes up the inside. Can Van Dorn hold on for his first point of the season? No. Grosjean, with all those issues, has managed to somehow claw his way back up into the top 10. Now the battle for 8th, Hulkenberg, his tyres seem to have completely fallen off the cliff, and now Max Verstappen is going to try and claim a few more points, but it looks like it's going to be a very, very difficult day for Red Bull. Verstappen now has got a great run on Nico Hulkenberg, has a little look around the outside, chucks it up the inside, and that you would imagine is going to be a very straightforward move for the Dutchman. He's going to move now into 8th place, but he's going to be the lead driver for Red Bull. The final lap then, here he is, the man who has controlled the race from around the halfway point. Managed to keep his nose clean in that first stint, managed to pull off a fantastic overcut on the rest of the top drivers. Valtteri Bottas, in his first race of the season, wins for Mercedes. A fantastic drive from the Finn from third on the grid, made it look easy in the end. Second place is going to go to Sebastian Vettel, the man who started in P5. A fantastic recovery drive from the German. His teammate Kimi Raikkonen, a disgruntled P3, but driver of the day nonetheless. Hamilton P4, and then in P5 on our debut, an absolute carnage race. A pretty, let's say, daring strategy to stop twice under the virtual safety car. It's a 5th place on our debut in Formula 1. And there is Toto Wolff. He looks very, very happy with the work from his flying Finn, and like we mentioned in the build-up, it looked like the fight for 5 world champions between Hamilton and Vettel, but Bottas and Raikkonen have some fantastic races, and they both look very, very much in the title fight. Mercedes, though, they are the winning constructor today. There's Romain Grosjean, almost back from the dead to fight to P9. A great job from the Frenchman in the end. But as we head out to the podium, there is Bottas. The Finnish national anthem will be played. Sebastian Vettel, a great job to recover to P2. He had a solid race, and the driver of the day, Kimi Raikkonen, made countless moves, countless incredible moves. 2 Finns on the podium, and this season, we thought it would be going into the build-up, we thought it would be going into the race, but now it's confirmed. This season is going to be an epic season. Who knows what is going to happen next? Here is your full classification for the race. Valtteri Bottas, your race winner, Vettel P2 and Raikkonen P3. Hamilton from pole position in P4, he'll be disappointed with that. Daniel Wood, ourselves in P5, a cracking job there. Did not expect that in our first race ever in Formula 1. Ocon, a great P6 for Force India. 7th for Gasly in Toro Rosso, his first race with Honda. 8th for Max Verstappen. 9th, Romain Grosjean, and the final point of the race went to Nico Hülkenberg. No point score for Williams or Sauber or Daniel Ricciardo. A difficult start to the season for Red Bull, and there's your Constructors' Championship. Mercedes lead by 4 points over Ferrari. It's then McLaren, our team and Stoffel's team, in P3 after our fantastic display and finish in P5 this season. I can't wait to crack on with this year. Thank you guys for watching my first ever career mode video on this channel. I tried to do it something a little bit different. Might not go as crazy with the commentary next time, but we will see. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys did as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.